Hey there, Rachel Allen here. I'm an integrative lifestyle coach. I like to work with people just like you who are ready to make changes mentally, physically, and spiritually. I get the opportunity to do vlogs just like this that assist people in the process of, I'm going to say, awakening, right? I wish I could say it was a one and done spiritual experience type of lifestyle. Sometimes it is. Many times, more often than not, we are here to have awakening processes. I believe the universe is kind and compassionate, and it is always nudging us into greater and greater awarenesses, levels of understanding about who we are and what we're here to manifest, make real. I know in the past we've talked about this idea of the physical realm, the body of our affairs, whether it's the physical body, the physicality of our spiritual nature, or whether it's the physical nature being having to do with the way life manifests around us. All of it is an extension, as I briefly described in one of my last videos. It's all an extension of what we understand spiritually. So for some of us, our lessons, our learning curve is a little bit deeper. The process may feel a little bit longer, more arduous, more strenuous, if you will. And so I want to talk about the physical body because I feel that that is something that I have plenty of experience in. And I know that every time I come back to, I used to say, I don't know how many day ones I have, or I don't know how many times I'm going to have to get up off that mat and start again. And what I used to think is that I didn't have any more energy, exertion, will, drive to be focused on the physicality of my body, because it has been a long journey for me. Starting from the time I was a little girl, I grew up in a household that was so focused on weight, dependent upon, I had a sister who's in the professional dancing world, so everybody, I'm going to say, I know for myself, definitely, I got weighed every day, and that number depicted how I was doing in life. That number was what I was going to get for food, what kind of clothing I was going to wear, whether I was going to get the hand-me-downs from a slim sister that I couldn't fit in, or I was going to get the hand-me-downs from my brother. And I lived in a lot of boy clothes. I'll just be really clear about that. Husky jeans, woohoo! So when I grew up into a little bit more adulthood, I'm going to say 13, 14, when I started living on my own, I had found some unhealthy habits that helped me kind of keep to a weight on the scale, because that was the way that I identified with well-being in my life. I thought if I had a number on the scale, that was what made me or allowed me to feel free and move about the cabin freely. And the reality of the matter is that the weight on the scale is no longer the true science of what this looks like in terms of health, vitality, joy, freedom, all those wonderful things. As we age and muscle mass decreases and we look to the importance of keeping osteopenia and osteoporosis at bay, all of the new ways that we kind of find out what's going on with our bone mass, our muscle mass, as well as brain health and brain science. We know that nutrition is a huge factor. We know that right training, I'm going to say right training, I'm not going to say just lifting weights, kettlebells, throwing weights around is what is highest and best for you, for your body. So what I thought I'd talk about is a couple things, basically 5, that is going to help maybe reframe some of the physical nature of our bodies. Maybe you can dial into a practice or two that you're going to be willing to try this week or take a look at this week. Maybe make a phone call, pick up the phone, talk to somebody who's in the field. We have a lot of videos going out and about right now. We've got YouTube, we've got TikToks, we've got Facebook, we've got a lot of people who are young, and because they're good at what they do, they just make videos. Make sure that whoever you're getting the information from is certified, is somebody that has the wisdom, has the knowledge, who can walk you through the explanation, the definition, and truly assess where you are today. Because to have a program design or to have a workout that isn't fit for you or your body, whether it has to do with your injury, your limitations, it's really kind of going to take you out of the game rather than put you in the game. So the first thing that I always say is make sure that you get, I'm going to talk about this is a big proponent for me, get an in-body. The in-body scan is a way to, or a bod pod, It's a way to identify your muscle mass, which differentiates your lean mass from your body fat, so that we get the whole snapshot of your weight and where you are physically. The BMI is kind of old school. It's no longer used, or it is used, I'm going to say, by those who maybe not be clear about the importance of muscle mass. And the more muscle mass we have in our physical body, your lean mass, then all of a sudden that's going to offset your weight and bring you back into proper proportion. We don't want to take just a snapshot based on, like we used to do, the age, weight, and height, because that doesn't tell us what your strength is. It doesn't tell us where you truly are. So an in-body or a bod pod, two best ways to get a true snapshot of what differentiate, again, lean mass from total body weight, which tells you exactly where you are in terms of percentage of body fat and where you want to go, because it starts all the way, of course, as your athlete going into healthy, moderate, into obese, and we want to make sure that we keep you into that healthy range, depending upon your lifestyle. And so we have to know where you are, right? We want to know where you are, and you can look away from the number, but it's important to know still the percentage of lean mass, because that's going to tell you where you want to grow and how you want to change based on what you're doing. The second most important thing is to do a full assessment with a trainer of some kind, whether it's an exercise physiologist or a personal trainer. The reason being is what we really do is assess for posture, alignment. We assess for stability. We assess for flexibility, range of motion, and then strength. It's one thing to be really strong, but if I have a limited range of motion and my posture is out of whack, guess what? I'm going to be much more prone to injury. And so we really want to make sure that, again, everything is in alignment before you start throwing those kettlebells around or hanging from TRX straps or doing things that could ultimately risk injury, create injury in the long run. And so it doesn't mean you can't do those things, but you're going to be much more awake or aware as to how to align yourself, or train with somebody who can assist you in proper alignment for all of those adventures. Again, another big popular thing right now is the CrossFits, because CrossFit Games became a big thing. And so we have, again, a lot of people throwing ropes, getting lower back injuries. We have people on TRX straps risking shoulder injuries. We have a lot of things that are maybe we're not quite yet ready for. It doesn't mean we can't get there. It means that we have to be aware of where we are. And so again, that's that part of, once I get those two assessments done, I always say it's time to kind of be gentle. It's time to process that information. Some of us, I remember standing in a local gym, and they were doing bod pods and having people come in and weigh in, and they were getting there. And there was a gentleman who was literally, he was like a competitive bodybuilder. And so he came for the understanding that he is right where he's supposed to be. Well, let me tell you, somebody who tends to carry excess weight, or at that time was really struggling getting back on track, it was a little, I'm going to use the word depressing, but it wasn't depressing. It felt challenging for me to kind of own where I was, because I am somebody, once again, who from the time I was a little girl have been trying to get to a number on a scale. And so since those assessments in the earlier days and earlier years, I now am much more apt and much more prone to take a look at the lean mass and make sure that I'm within a certain range based on my style of living, my fitness level, and based on my professional life. I work in the fitness industry, health wellness industry, right? And so how do I show up to my life as an athlete, as an aspiring athlete, at optimum, right? At optimum. And so once I take the time to do the assessments, my bod pod or in body, and once I take a time to meet with a trainer and take a look at everything in terms of my posture, alignment, stability, flexibility, and strength, and then I take time to process that for myself. And sometimes I need somebody to sit with, maybe a mentor, maybe a good girlfriend, a cup of coffee, somebody that I feel comfortable kind of processing, just so I can get some of the emotions out, because there's always a day one. We say there's always that time that says, wow, how did I land here again? Or I'm not where I want to be still yet, all those wonderful things. And I need just perspective. I need time to embrace all of that, because out of that time that I allow, I'm able to again listen to my guidance, listen for my intuition, or allow that to be a time of polishing mind, eye, heart, so I can hear more clearly what is my next indicated step. Because sometimes we jump right into the action, right? We jump right into full detox of food, or aggressive exercise plan, whatever that is, and we haven't quite gotten the message of what is next for me. And so I always encourage taking that little bit of pause and being really gentle as to where we are, because out of that we'll have that sweet small voice that says, try this next, or contact this person, or make a commitment over here. And then once you get that clarity piece of what that next action is, that directive is, I always say make a commitment for it 4 to 6 weeks. We say 6 weeks. I used to think it was a month. I have on my YouTube channel an interview with Chris Reed, who it was impressed. I learn a lot when I do my podcasts. But this is a gentleman who'd been in the fitness industry for a really long time, and he said 6 weeks is usually the turning point for a physical body. Some kind of change. We used to think it was 21 days makes a new habit, 28 days. 6 weeks is where really we start seeing the physicality of the shift. We see the physical change or transformation. So if you can make a commitment to something 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to be further down that path, and you're going to be much more confident. You're going to have greater self-esteem. You're going to have greater awareness as to what is going to be the next thing you're ready to change or add on to or take away, whatever that transformation is to you. So trust the process, most importantly, right? So trust that as you become willing to take a look through those assessments, and even if it's not the physical body, I'll say this, for some of my clients, it hasn't necessarily been a weight or a physical training thing. It's been a spiritual life change. So there's still an assessment that needs to be made. And those are more, I'm going to say one-on-one, voice-to-voice. I'm not going to say it's counseling because I'm not a licensed therapist, but it's definitely a way to take stock of the moments in our life. And even on the heels of those assessments, it's really important to take time to listen, to process where we are, to own that where we are is a direct result of what we're doing and what we're thinking. Because those thoughts will lead to emotions, and either we want to play it safe or we want to get to comfort rather than, forge forward into kind of the unknown. Take it from me. So again, it's how do we continue to move forward and make progress in the physical world and this physical body, which I always say, one body. We've been blessed with one body this go round. So we must, and this is a must, I'll wag my finger again, we must appreciate this physical body, which means how do I feed it nutrients? How am I nourishing? What am I saying to it? What am I believing about it? All of those wonderful things. And there's so much science out there now that debunks the idea of genetics, that debunks the idea that this is, this is it for you. All of that stuff, cancel, delete, stop. We get to begin again right here, right now. So with your willingness, pick up the phone, schedule 2 most important appointments that could really save your life in the long run, is some kind of physical, being your body, bod pod or in-body appointment, as well as meeting with a trainer, just so you can find out where you are. With those 2 key important ingredients, you'll be able to take time to process that information. You'll begin to set goals for 4 to 6 weeks, and then again, trusting that process. And then after that 4 to 6 weeks, you can, guess what? Repeat a lot of that loop. You're going to go back, you're going to assess and see how you're feeling, how you're doing. You can take a look at what the next step is, and then again, make that commitment 4 to 6 weeks. And it's just a continuum. And once we get that there's no there's no there, we are here, woohoo! And we get to celebrate this body, honor this body through continued education, continued feedback, and taking it more as feedback rather than punishment or failure. It's all a win, right? So if you need assistance, again, my name is Rachel Allen, and one of my favorite things to do is work with with people just like you who are looking for information, detailed information that can make your life more enriched, so you feel more free, more capable, better ready to handle life as it is handed to us, and not from victim, not from taking it on, but from being able to move through it more gracefully. Feel free to call me. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. My website is it's actually rachelallen.coach, rachelallen.coach. You can message me on Facebook, or you can call or text me. My phone number is 520-270-0409. Make sure you like the the product here, or the video, I should say. Make sure you like it, share it with anybody you feel. If this isn't for you, make sure you reach it out or share it to somebody that you may feel, without hurting their feelings, that maybe you had a conversation about this very thing. And maybe it's 2 or more of you who are looking to take a look at their lives. Sometimes that buddy pact works really well, having a friend that you can do this with. So make sure you, again, reach out if you have any questions. If you have any comments, make sure you link them below. If you have any questions about any of the content, make sure you also write a comment below, and I'll make sure I follow up with you. Peace and blessings. Be gentle. One body, this go round. Treat it with all the love and compassion you can. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.